Welcome back, friends. I'm Amanda with The Happy Homestead, and today we're going to talk about a little bit of a controversial topic for some, not for all, and that is raw cow's milk. So we purchase raw milk from a local farm that does it correctly. And when I say it's not just does it right, but literally it does it correctly. And that means that their cows have access to grass. They are pastured. They are out in the sunlight. They are getting fresh air, and they are getting to be a cow. And they are treated with care and respect. And I've been buying and purchasing and using raw milk for over a year now. I think it's been about a year and a half. And let me tell you, that was a really big switch for us. It was a big deal for me personally. A little background. I had decided in my younger years, teenage younger years, maybe adolescent years, that I was going to be a vegetarian. And I was a vegetarian with a lot of gray area. A lot of gray area. But I was a vegetarian for a very long time, probably close to 25 years. And there was some vegan stints in there, you know, here and there. Again, there was some gray area. So it was a big deal for me, not only to buy cow's milk, but then buy raw cow's milk, right? But I'm so glad. So this is why I wanted to talk about it today. And we're going to make butter. I'm going to make butter with some of the milk we have today. But I think it's important to really demystify raw milk. It is not bad for you. And I know personally growing up, it was like, do I really want to drink that? You know, it just felt like it had some heebie-jeebies with it, and it's just not the case. So I'm a big fan of the Weston Price Foundation and Sally Fallon, who is one of the authors of Nourishing Traditions. She talks a lot about, it's just a lot about real food, unprocessed food. And that is what I try so hard to subscribe to here in our kitchen, in our family. We're not perfect. I don't claim to be, but it is a goal of mine every day to really give my family the most nutritious, and myself, by the way, the most nutritious food possible. And raw milk and raw dairy come in with that. So you may have seen it, but there's a note here. And this note, the sticker is scary. If you are unaware, you know, not aware of kind of the laws and what's going on with raw milk. So yeah, you see that and it is full-blown scary. Not for human consumption. That's not true. The reason it says that is because I am in the state of North Carolina, and North Carolina is one of those states where the sale of raw milk for human consumption is illegal. Now, the farm can sell you the raw milk, but they need to put this sticker on. That clears them, right? They sell it to you, and they are very clear that they are following the law. Once you get home, once I get home, it's up to me what I do with it. It's not on the farm. It's not on anyone else. It's my decision. And that's what I do. So if you are looking for a raw milk source near you, go to realmilk.com. And that is an excellent resource. That's actually how I found the farmer that I buy my milk from, who has since become a friend, and I just admire everything that they're doing. So you never know, you may actually, you know, gain a little small community out of your raw milk search. Why raw milk? Well, it is better for you. If you choose to drink milk, and I know not everyone does, if you choose to, I highly encourage you to just try it. Again, it is a little bit of a behavioral mindset change. It doesn't taste different. I actually think it tastes better. And by better, I mean creamier, fresher. The pasteurized milk, you know, when I remember I used to buy it and it would have like the expiration date like 6 or 7 or 8 weeks out, especially the ultra pasteurized. It's like, why even bother? Why bother buying that? It's got nothing good in it. Everything has been killed. That's what pasteurization does, by the way. It heats it to an extremely high temperature and it kills all bacteria. Now, if you are buying milk or you're getting milk from a farm that doesn't have good practices, they're not taking care of their cows, they're not using sanitary equipment, right, for milking and whatnot, then yeah, you need to pasteurize that. But if you find a farm that is doing it the correct way and taking those precautions, especially for cleanliness and sanitary reasons, then no, it doesn't have to be pasteurized. So that's what the pasteurization does. It heats it to an extremely high temp, kills all of the good things. And personally, I want the good things. Now, not to be confused, homogenized milk, so you'll see on a label it says pasteurized and homogenized. Homogenized milk means that the cream and the skim milk have been spun really fast together, that the fat molecules and the fat globules, it all kind of integrates. And so you don't have, you ready? The separation. Look at the cream line here. This is a half gallon of milk, raw milk, that I put into this jar last night. And I did that so it would separate for this morning. Do you see that? I have half a gallon of cream in that. I'm so excited. But that's what homogenization does, is it kind of binds it all together, mixes it together so it doesn't separate. So when I come home and I have bought my raw milk, I immediately take, and I get 2 gallons a week, sometimes more, sometimes less, but on average 2 gallons a week. And I will pour it into my mason jars. This is the other one. You see the other cream line right here. So I easily have a little shy of half a gallon of cream here. Amazing. And you'll notice in different times of the season, different times of the year, depending on the cows on grass, depending when they're on hay, right? If they're being dried off or they're just had a baby, right? You'll have different levels of cream. But I immediately pour them into these jars so that I can let the cream separate and I can skim it off. And that's what we're gonna do today to make the butter. I'm not gonna spout off any nutritional claims on raw milk because inevitably someone's gonna catch me on something I say incorrectly. So I'm just not gonna do that. Go do the research for yourself. Go to realmilk.com, find a farmer and tour the farm and do research on if real milk is worth it for you. Real raw milk is worth it for you. So what I do with those 2 gallons a week is I make cheese, I make butter, I use it for cooking, I use the cream in my coffee, the kids will have some cereal every now and then. Oh, kefir, I use it to make our own kefir. So fermented dairy is fantastic for your body. Just so many benefits of that. Another episode at another time. Let's skim this cream off. This is just a 1/3 of a cup measuring cup, and I very carefully just come in. I'm using my food processor to make butter. Now I picked this milk up, I think 3 days ago. The other benefit of raw milk is that it doesn't really go bad. It just changes. But we still have a little bit left from 2 weeks ago in our refrigerator that I've been using for coffee and the kids used for their granola this morning. I'll use it in recipes, pancakes, etc. And it's perfectly fine. You don't really notice it at all. It may change a little bit over that 2 weeks, but it's not significant. After 2 weeks, I would probably just use it for baking, cooking, or kefir. But it doesn't go bad and go rancid like pasteurized milk does. So I'm just kind of gently putting it in. Now, when you are skimming off of the cream, or the cream off rather, do you see the difference there, the little swirls? You can kind of see the difference of the actual cream versus the skim milk. So whole milk is the cream totally integrated and mixed in. Right? And then you've got 2% and 1%, and that just basically means there's either 1 or 2% of the cream left. Skim milk means no cream. That's basically like water in my opinion, but it still works. Okay, so I went down to here, and there's going to be still a little cream in there, which is okay. Let's go to the other jar where it's really low. But when you're skimming, you notice the difference in the consistency. Like this is so thick. And then as I get further down, not yet, but as I keep continuing to go, it'll get a little thinner and I'll be getting some of the actual milk in and not the cream. I may even not be able to get all of this in because I don't want to overload the food processor with too much liquid. I find the food processor truly is the easiest way to make butter. And I don't do this every week, but every now and then it's really nice. This is also what I would do is if I wanted to make ice cream, I would skim off my cream and use that to make ice cream, which I have done many a times too. Okay, I am almost at the top here of my blade, so I am gonna stop. There is still plenty of cream in there, which will not go to waste. So all I'm gonna do is run the food processor, and it's gonna take a few minutes, but over time, you're gonna really start to see the butter solids separate from the butter milk. So I have a bowl here that I will then put all of the butter solids in, and I have a jar that I'll put the buttermilk in. And again, that buttermilk can be used for so many things too. It's pretty amazing the different types of dairy products that you can get from 1 gallon of milk. Okay, so I started to hear a different sound, right? It changed a little bit, and I want you to see. We are basically at the whipped cream stage. We have whipped the cream, but you want to keep going, right? We're not done yet. So if you're ever trying to make whipped cream and then you go too far, that's how you make butter. We're gonna keep going. Okay, it changed a little bit again in the sound. I think we're getting there. Oh yeah, we're not there yet, but we're getting there. Do you see, when I move it aside, do you see the white liquid? That is the buttermilk. So our butter solids are starting to separate. We're gonna go a little bit longer. All right, that looks pretty good. Look at that. You see the gorgeousness of that yellow butter. Oh, that is perfect. All right. So we are gonna put our butter solids in the bowl and the buttermilk in a jar. Now the buttermilk, I'll just keep it in the refrigerator, but I will use it probably within the next 3 to 5 days. Again, it won't necessarily go bad, and it's not like you're gonna be drinking it. You would use it for cooking, for biscuits, those types of things. But do not throw it away. It has its uses. Okay, this is going in the fridge. All right, so we've got our butter here in the bowl. This next step is going to seem maybe counterintuitive to what your brain would tell you to do, but we're gonna wash the butter in very cold water. Now, in order to make your butter last, you need to get all of the buttermilk out. So I'm going to be rinsing it under cold water, using my hands, using the spoon, and really mashing it and trying to get all of the little buttermilk molecules or droplets out. The more buttermilk you get out, the longer it lasts. Okay, I actually put some ice cubes in because my water is just not super cold. It's kind of towards the end of summer and I'm on city water, but the ice cubes will help. And also you want to try to get your butter solids together, right, in one ball. So I'm going to use my paddle to really get that together. And I'm just gonna start, do you see some of the buttermilk coming out as I do that? You're gonna do this until your water really runs clear. If it's still cloudy like this, that means you've still got buttermilk in there. So just using the paddle to really press through it, kind of spread it along the edge of the bowl there. Just make sure you have it in a single mass before you dump it out. The water is pretty clear right now. You can see that. It's not nearly as cloudy as it was. This butter, I mean, it will last in the refrigerator for probably up to a week. It's not gonna last that long in this house, especially since we're having some minestrone soup with crusty bread tonight, and this will be on our bread. But I would say fresh butter that you have gotten as much of the buttermilk out as possible will last about a week. Okay, I've got all of the buttermilk pressed. I've rinsed out as much of the water as possible. I'm just gonna add a little bit of some Redmond real salt. The salt obviously adds a wonderful flavor, but it also helps release some more of that liquid. So you see that? So I'm just gonna mix the salt in. And then I'm gonna pour out that little bit of water. That's it. Look how beautiful that is. So I'm just gonna keep this in the refrigerator until we need it for dinner tonight. But I have to try it. Just a little bit. Oh my goodness. It is so good. It's so creamy. With just a hint of salt. Oh, yeah. Homemade butter is where it's at, y'all. Like I said, we don't make butter all that often, maybe a couple of times a month, but I would encourage you to try it. It's a skill that is worth knowing. You'll impress your family members with it, and a good time to do it maybe for the holidays, right? Maybe make your own butter when you are serving your dinner rolls at your holiday feast. That would be a wonderful addition to a deliciously homemade meal. I hope I've inspired you to consider trying raw milk and maybe even making your own butter and some of your own dairy products. You never know, you might enjoy it. You might learn something and open your own horizons. Thanks for joining me today. Stay healthy, stay well. Bye-bye.